Hi guys, and welcome back to the Player YouTube channel. And you join me on a rather sunny day, and I've left my shades at home, at a place which will remain nameless. But I can tell you one thing, we're going to meet two very, very interesting gentlemen. One at a time, I might say, because I just felt it was better to do individual interviews rather than get both these guys together, because they're both sort of really interesting in their own rights. So the first guy we're going to meet is Ivor Dunbar, and this is Ivor's car collection place. I haven't seen inside yet. I can't wait to get in there because I know some of the cars that Ivor has collected. So we're going to meet Ivor Dunbar first, and then after that we're going to meet Ivor's business partner and motor racing legend Johnny Mowlem. And he's here as well, hiding somewhere. So let's go and meet at least one of the guys to start with and get on and crack on with these interviews, and I'll catch up with you in a minute. Let's go. Hi Ivor, it's nice to meet you. I'm not allowed to shake hands because of the COVID thing. This is amazing. What is this place?
It's just a little garage where we keep all the toys.
A little garage, I love it. You're going to show me around?
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Cool. Okay, so let's take a walk and so tell me a little bit about what this is all about. I mean, obviously you keep your toys here.
Yep.
I mean, that's a hell of a toy, that little Austin, isn't it?
Yeah, my wife bought that for me for my birthday a few years ago.
It's a beautiful little car, isn't it?
Oldest car in the collection.
And you actually start it from the front?
We have an electric starter on.
Yeah. Has it got the original engine in there?
It has. Yeah. It's all. It was restored in 1950.
Right.
And the previous owner had it for 50 years.
Fantastic. 1950.
But 1929 it was originally built.
Jeez,
so.
That's so old.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously you have a love of cars, but you're not, well, you are a motor racing driver in a way, but we'll get to that in a minute. You are quite financially educated, weren't you? I mean.
Yeah, I was a banker. These days I'm what they call an angel investor. I invest in
a what?
Small angel investor.
An angel investor,
in small companies.
Okay.
So,
like a
venture capitalist, but the very small companies at an early stage.
Got you, yeah. So, but where did it all begin?
Well, actually, the financial bit. I went to university in Wales, read economics, ended up working in a bank.
Right.
I worked for Barclays for 13 years and Deutsche for 16 years.
Yeah.
And by that time, I felt I'd probably done enough in banking and went for a change. Allowed me a little bit more time to, build this and build up the car collection and do a bit of amateur racing and all that good stuff. Yeah,
we're going to talk about the amateur racing in a minute, because that's obviously what I came to talk to you about, because I know you have a very good friend who's here with us today, Johnny Mowlem.
That's right.
Johnny's going to talk to me in a minute after we've had a chat about what you love doing. Your original love of cars, where did all that come from?
My father used to have a little garage up in Scotland. Just a little service garage and a little petrol station. And I grew up watching Jim Clark and Jackie Stewart win all the Grand Prix. So.
Wow. Sorry, I didn't think you were that old.
That's right. Well, Jim Clark just about finished. Jackie Stewart was absolutely the right era.
Yeah, no, I remember a bit of Jackie. Yeah. So you must be a similar age to me. We're not far off each other's age group. So that's where this love of sort of motor racing and cars was born.
Yes, exactly. But I didn't have the budget. No. Arguably didn't have the talent to go professional motor racing, so ended up working in the city, making a little bit of money, enjoying the cars as much as I could, but you tend to be a bit time poor when you work in the city, so it wasn't really until after I'd retired that we went motor racing seriously. Nice.
And that's, I mean, had you always wanted to race, or was it just, just something that you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd always done track days, but never really had the time. I mean, you got to put. There's no substitute for seat time, so I just didn't have the time to devote to it to go racing. But then, once I had a little bit more time, then the opportunity was there. Yeah. And fortunately, because I knew Johnny, there was a pretty straightforward way of making that happen.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, like I say, we'll have a chat about Johnny in a minute. He's standing over there. We won't talk too loudly about him. Tell me about some of these cars, because some of these
are,
I mean, there's some in the background which you guys probably haven't seen yet. We're going to come around here.
So this is a Works Defender. This is a V8 that they produced 150 of last year.
Oh yes, that's right, yeah.
So
the last 150 apparently, wasn't it? Or
well, they bought back 2015, 2016 cars and then pulled them apart, literally, nut and bolt restoration.
Yeah.
And they slipped a V8 engine and
beautiful.
Tweaked the transmission and the suspension and what have you. So
I love it. It's really nice. It's proper chunky off-road style.
yeah. So if you go, I do a little bit of shooting, so it's a perfect vehicle.
Oh yeah. Have you got dogs?
Dog sadly died at the end of last year, but straight after this, we're off to see a breeder for potentially getting a new dog in November.
Nice. So just the one?
One to start. The wife wants more.
Speaking of the wife, what's this doing?
That's her old car.
She just parked it here.
She's parked it here because she got a new one, but she couldn't abide, not saying goodbye to it. So it's parked here.
That's quite sweet.
We had it out the other day. That's why it's looking a little bit fly beaten.
That's all right. I mean, it's Anyway, let's move on to something more after.
A little bit more. A little quicker.
You have to, guys, really sorry about this. Our remote mics, our radio mics have had to go in and be serviced, and because of all this COVID thing, we've ended up having to work with these old wireless things. So apologies now that we have to sort of wander around with these wires, but I'm sure you'll get over it. So tell me a little bit about this car, Ivor. This is
F12 TDF Tour de France.
I've got to bend down here. This is you go on one knee to a car like this. It's like just put your head down. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's a lovely GT car. It's quick. You need your wits about you. It's quite lively as well.
Yes. I can imagine. Have you had this on the track or just out on the road?
No. Driven it to Le Mans while we were racing at Le Mans, but the challenge with putting a road car on the track is 9 times out of 10 they feel so much worse on the racetrack. Yeah. I mean, particularly if you're racing.
If you're used to a race car, and
so
then
you go from a race car to a road car on the track, it's a bit pedestrian.
Completely different.
So I think this is too big a car to put on the racetrack.
It is.
Some people like to take them on track days and things.
By the way, I'm not going to ask you your favourite. I'm not going to, because I don't think you could have a favourite with the cars that
they
are
all
here.
have a different purpose.
Exactly. They've all got their own little. It's like saying, have you got a favourite child out of your children? I mean, I do, but I'd never let the others know which one. There you go.
We won't say it here.
If any of my kids are watching, you'll have to find that one out.
That'll be in the wheel.
That's definitely in the wheel. What's this? Oh, no, I know what this is. I mean, obviously, there's a LaFerrari.
Yeah, now this is probably the exception. I have taken this onto the racetrack, and it is phenomenal on the racetrack. And in all honesty, it's hard to exploit it fully without being on the racetrack.
And I believe you let Johnny drive this once as well.
I have let Johnny drive this, and on the racetrack.
And on a racetrack.
And on a racetrack.
There you go. You must have a lot of trust in him.
Yeah.
And this is
a lot of insurance.
This is a very unusual car, unusual colour. Not unusual, it's very unusual.
Yeah, it's a one-off colour actually. My wife chose it. It was, we were at the factory and they had a lot of colours that they hadn't yet used. And they said, if you paint it in this colour, you can name the colour. So
you named the colour?
We've named the colour.
That's so cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
What did she call it?
She called it Rosso Altrua because we've got a property in Scotland called Altrua.
Altrua.
That's right.
That's really lovely. How nice. So you actually got the wife involved in this?
Oh yeah, that's important. I spend quite a lot of time with these things. So
I love it. And obviously you love driving this car, don't you?
Yeah, it's a great car to drive.
Yeah.
And they're all here to be used. If I don't use them, I won't keep them.
Let's talk a bit about Johnny, because that's a lot of the reason we're here, and Red River Motorsport, which you're sporting the jacket as well. How did you get involved with Johnny? Where did you meet Johnny?
I met him 20 odd years ago at Silverstone, I think it was, at an RMA track day. A mate of mine and I had a little old Lotus Elise that we supercharged and put slick tyres on and a little sport suspension. And
best chassis in the world, by the way.
Great, and that actually is a car that's fine on the racetrack. It's so light,
Totally designed for it.
And it did feel a little bit like a small racing car. So that was that we met, and Graham at RMA introduced Johnny and said, you should do a few laps with Johnny and you'll improve your lap times immeasurably, which of course is true. Everybody spends lots of money on expensive cars, but if you really want to go quicker, get some proper instruction from people who know what they're doing. So, once a year we would meet up somewhere and, I'd get a little bit more instruction. I get slightly better at driving. And we sort of stayed in touch ever since. And then when I retired, then I had a bit more time. Johnny said, well, why don't we go racing? So we started, and then we set up Red River Sport in order to make it a little bit more professional. And first of all, it was just focused on me, but now, of course, other people can come in and race, and we lease so anybody can out, and
they can come along to you. They get instruction from Johnny and various other people.
Or Johnny will arrange an instructor for them. Because in truth, there's a limited number of people you can spend the time instructing and do all the racing commitments and what have you. But certainly Johnny will advise people on, depending on their experience and their skill levels, he'll advise them on where to start, what level of motorsport to start at. He'll help them negotiate the best deal in terms of buying or renting or leasing race cars.
Looking after the insurance, track day insurance,
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, because he's obviously got a lot of experience when it comes to that.
And lots of contacts.
Yeah, and it's called Red River Sport.
Red River Sport.
And the website is?
redriversport.com.
There you go. Look down here now, it's coming up now, just in case you didn't hear that. It's redriversport.com. There you go, it's there. Right. So we've got Red River Sport, we've got you now working with Johnny. We've got all these lovely cars. I'm just trying to think.
He doesn't work, I just turn up and drive occasionally,
Okay, you just turn up and drive. Let's move on to the next car.
It's a bit of a role reversal for Johnny.
It's a bit of a role reversal for him. This in particular, one of my favourite cars, 2017, there we go, World Endurance Champion.
So this is the Pista Piloti. So you can buy one of these if you've raced with Ferrari.
And then they allow you.
And then they'll allow you to spend the money to buy the most expensive version of their car.
Yeah.
So there's a relatively limited number of these. I don't know how many they ended up
This
building.
actually looks brand new. Has it ever been out?
Brand new.
It is brand new, right.
Yeah.
So you got this because you've raced with Ferrari?
Yes, for a couple of years we raced GT3.
Okay,
488 GT3.
Yeah.
Which, we went across, Johnny and I went to Michelotto, shown around by Cristiano, and we had a good,
as you do,
as you do, and
this is I see your face. This is your boyhood dream, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're living your dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Absolutely. You can just, your whole face brightens up when you're talking about these people. It's like, I actually went round with him, but you don't actually say it. You're so cool with it. I love it. So, again, going back to the Red River Sport side of things, is it a specific goal at the end of it? Are you training to achieve something?
Well, I think it depends on each individual.
Yeah.
And we set out with a pretty high objective of aiming to race at Le Mans.
Yeah.
And one of our mates who's in Red River Sport, Bonamy Grimes, is this year racing at Le Mans with Red River Sport and Johnny and another professional driver.
Are you not going to drive?
There's a support race, which I've done before.
Okay.
In these COVID times, I'm probably going to wait until next year and go do it.
Fair enough. So. Yeah. But I mean, have you driven the track before?
Oh yes, I've done it 2 or 3 times before. Yeah, in a 488 GT3 and in the LMP3 car that we now race.
Fantastic.
Which is a normal.
Wow. Speaking of COVID times, I know you've got a simulator here, haven't you?
Yep.
And it's been quite practical for you to be able to do instruction with Johnny.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, it's good partly to learn new circuits.
Yeah.
It's good just to hone your skills on the circuits So at the moment, we've been focusing on Silverstone, which is a circuit I know reasonably well. But making these LMP3 cars go more quickly around there.
So you're driving the LMP3?
Yeah.
How do you find that?
It's properly quick. You know,
even compared to these.
Or even compared with these. Yeah. Because there's so much downforce on it.
Yeah, sure.
And there's no ABS.
Yeah.
So it's proper purist braking. It does have stability control, but to be honest, I don't really need it. It's got so much downforce.
Who needs stability control?
Exactly.
Let's move on to this last car here. Now, I recognise this, and anybody who's watching, if you're into your motorsport, you'll know this car in particular belonged to someone quite famous, didn't it?
It did. Someone by the name of Coolside.
Another Scot.
Another Scot.
Yeah.
There's
a fellow Scot. Is that why you ended up with it?
There's a theme, yeah. No, this car actually belongs to a couple of mates of mine, actually.
Okay.
So I'm
You're just looking after it.
Well, the rental condition is that I get to drive it when it's goes out testing.
Have you not driven it yet?
Not yet. It's only just arrived.
And you're going to drive this?
Yeah. It just seems
that's got to be
the right thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the right thing to do. That's an amazing bit of kit, isn't it? I presume everything works.
Yeah, well, I presume so. It's supposed to work.
Did they give you the key?
There's a box of kit. Yeah, there's a starter device over there.
Oh, you actually got the starter here? Yeah, I could see it. The starter's over there, guys. That's amazing. Wow. So really, for you, just summing this up, what is the way forward? Is it with Red River Sport and you becoming a professional driver, or are you just going to stay?
No, it's always going to be an amateur activity. But yes, Red River Sport's the easiest and most efficient way to go do it.
Yeah.
You get to go play with these toys with your mates. So the intention is just to continue more of the same, basically.
And are there any restrictions? I mean, obviously you've got to have a driving licence and you've got to have a love of motorsport.
You've got to get the right race licence, and depending on what level you're at, you obviously need an international licence as well.
Yeah.
You've got to pass the medical. It's
not
the most grueling medical, to be fair. I think if you were going to fail the medical, I guess you could have heart problems or issues like that you didn't know about. But there are not that many restrictions. It is a strange sport where you can play at the highest level. You can go and race at Le Mans. You can certainly take part in the World Endurance Championship. You can race in ELMS, and 2 years ago we did the Asian Le Mans series with Aston Martin. So you can play with the big boys, and there are lots of professional race drivers, all sports car drivers and ex-F1 drivers.
And affectionately known as gentlemen drivers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you are a gentleman and a scholar. I've appreciated the time you have given me to show me some of these cars that are here, guys. I mean, there are a number of others around there. We will B-roll it for you so you can see all of the cars individually. Ivor, I can't shake hands with you. I would normally say thank you very much and really appreciate your time. Don't forget, guys, AJ the player here, you've been watching us with Ivor Dunbar, and this has been a fantastic day that we've spent down at Ivor's car collection, or boys' den. This is a big man cave, isn't it?
It is a bit.
This is the man cave of the century, for me anyway. Don't forget, like, subscribe and comment, and if you stay with us, if you now click up here, this one, you can see the interview with Mr. Johnny Mowlem himself, who we're now going to talk to. And we'll crack on with that as well. If not, I'll catch you next week with another car. Take care and safe motoring, don't forget it. Thanks, Ivor.
No problem.